Zabawy brać miejsca. Nie ruszaj mi tego.
All right. Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Everglades Holiday Park. Everglades Holiday Park is the beautiful Florida Everglades. And we are home of the Gator Boys! Ladies and gentlemen, your adventure into the Florida Everglades begins right now with Captain Dylan. And Captain Gloria! And since you're on board right now with Captain Dylan and Captain Gloria, you know you're in good hands. So from this point on, everybody, please sit back, relax, and enjoy your ride. Now, for the next couple of days, I will be taking it. I'm sorry. I meant to say the next 60 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, for the next 60 minutes, I will be taking everyone around the Florida Everglades and telling you about the plant and wildlife that is out here. I'm also going to try to find you as much wildlife as I can, and wildlife in the Florida Everglades may include some exotic fish and birds, some freshwater snakes and turtles, watching the trees for some South American iguanas. But my goal today is to find you a North American alligator and show you the alligator in its natural environment. And to find you as much wildlife as I like, we have to travel deep into the Everglades. Right now, I'm going to take everyone on a speed trail. The boat we're sitting on right now is called Sundance. Sundance is powered by 720 horsepowers. That means right now we may reach speeds up to 50 miles per hour! So ladies and gentlemen, please use this time right now and secure any and all items, especially hats, glasses, cell phones, cameras, and loved ones. And before we take off, I just want to say, I really do appreciate the energy you guys gave me back there. So, as a very special bonus today, right after our first speed trail, Captain Gloria will hand out drinks and snacks for everyone on board. Thanks again, Gloria! But until then, everybody, please secure those items and hang on tight. 'Cause here we go! Okay, let's talk about the Everglades now. The Florida Everglades is one of the world's largest ecosystems. In total, the Florida Everglades are 100 miles long and 50 miles wide. It's filled with many different species and animals. When most people think of the Florida Everglades, they think it's a swamp. To tell you the truth, they would be wrong. In fact, the Florida Everglades are not a swamp. It's actually a river. It's the shallowest and the slowest moving river in North America. Before the Florida Everglades was called the Florida Everglades, it was known as the Endless River of Grass. At this time, if you look out the left side of our boat and look down the canal, you may see why it was known as the Endless River of Grass. And we'll talk more about the grass out here a little bit later on the tour. Right now, we are entering a highly populated area for wildlife. As we enter this area, I just want to let everyone know that for your comfort, anytime during our tour that we encounter any wildlife, I will spin this boat in that area so both sides can view it. But please keep in mind that this is the wild and these are wild animals.
Don't feed the animals.
Sometimes, as I'm spinning the boat from side to side, alligators may go underwater. Birds may fly away. Wildlife will scatter. If you're out here for some great pictures, please have your cameras ready at all times. Because here in the Florida Everglades, the difference between a good picture and a great picture is 1 second. This is one of my favorite parts of the Everglades, to come out here and visit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Vulture Island. And locals call this area Vulture Island because it is home to many different types of birds, but mainly populated by vultures. Okay, before we start talking about vultures and some of the birds here at Vulture Island, I do have some wildlife right over here I want to show you guys. We're going to start with the right side of the boat first, go by it very slowly, and then I'll spin the boat around, coming back along the side with the left. Coming up on the right-hand side of our boat next, look on this tree branch that is right across from us at this time. Laying on top of that tree branch up there, you may be able to spot about a 2-foot South American iguana. Iguanas are vegetarians. They feed only on vegetation you see around us. average female iguana grows to be 4 feet long. The average male iguana grows to be 6 feet long.
Somewhere in here. Oh, there on the left. It's behind the tree. Behind the tree.
As we continue to pass by Vulture Island, look around this area for the American black vulture. The American black vulture is the bird that has a gray, featherless head and black body. You may also see the turkey vulture. The turkey vulture has a red, featherless head and brown body. All vultures are considered scavengers because they feed off everything from dead animals in the area to garbage. But without vultures in the Everglades, you would probably only see dead animals in the area and garbage. Appearing off the right side of our boat at this time, straight up in that tree right there, you'll spot 2 American black vultures sitting up there. The state of Florida has one of the largest populations of vultures in the United States. If we return back here to Vulture Island at sundown, you would spot about 500 vultures covering this entire area.
Odpoczywają w cieniu.
Some other birds that are commonly found here at Vulture Island may also include the white ibis, the red-shouldered hawk, the great egret, the great blue heron, and the osprey. During the rest of our tour, I will continue to keep my eyes open for some of these other birds, but for now, this area here is the Vulture Island. Okay, coming up on our left right now, if you look right up in this tree, you'll see the turkey vulture up there.
Cool. Mówiłem, że Wiktoria tam nie siadała. Może chce się zamienić z mamą, żeby mogła zdjęcia robić. O! Sobie śpi. Widziałeś tam? To nie jest opona. Tam nie jest opona, aligator leży. Snake? No. Maybe a snake. Nie wchodzę do domu.
find you guys some more wildlife. And to do that, we have to travel even deeper into the Everglades. At this time, we are coming to our second speed trail. Once again, may I please ask everyone to secure all of your items and hang on tight. Thank you. And here we go! Ladies and gentlemen, alligator on the right side of the boat! As soon as we come off that second speed trail, ladies and gentlemen, we got an alligator right over here. I will always do my best to get you guys as close as possible to the wildlife. Do me a favor, and please keep all body parts and objects inside the boat. Thank you. The North American alligator
Patrz, płynie w
has
górę.
80 teeth in their
I
mouth.
słynie tutaj.
There is 40 teeth on the top. There is 40 teeth on the bottom. During the alligator's life, it can go through over 3,000 teeth.
Zapasa łodzi się nie boi. He's not scared. Too much. Vicky, put your hand out.
Here's the did you know. Did you know that in their natural environment, such as the Florida Everglades, alligators like to eat fish, birds, lizards, turtles, snakes, people named Gloria, small mammals, and other alligators.
Generalnie
Male
wszystko.
alligators will eat their own young.
In general, they just eat everything and everyone.
Here is something about alligators that many people do not know.
Trenowany chyba.
If you can safely measure the distance between an alligator's eyes and nose, and then turn those inches into feet, you would have your estimated length of the alligator. That means that you do not have to see the alligator's body to tell how big they are. All you need to see is their head. For example, this alligator right here, you can spot about 8 inches between the eyes and nose, making this roughly an 8-foot alligator.
Say hello to him. He's swimming with us. To jest turystyczny aligator. Trzeba wyrzucić kogoś za burtę. To jest turystyczny aligator.
I don't want anyone on board right now to freak out. I need everyone to stay calm. But I think you should all know. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is an alligator on the right. And there is an alligator on the left. Ladies and gentlemen, we are surrounded by alligators in the Everglades. That's my little bit of time. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look up the left side of our boat over there in the distance swimming in the water, yep, we got another alligator right there.
Ten się lapi. Tamten się lapi, czeka aż wyjdziemy. Tamten sobie pływa.
And that alligator that was just right there on the left went underwater. Alligators have a 4-chambered heart. They can slow their heartbeat down to 4 or 5 beats a minute, which helps them hold their breath for up to 6 hours long.
Wylas. Też bym chciał 6 godzin pod wodą móc siedzieć.
Alligators have lateral vision. Lateral vision means they do not see in front of them, they cannot see behind them. Alligators can only see sideways out of their head. If an alligator is ever looking right at you, chances are they're not even looking at you.
Czyli jak wpadniesz do wody, to przodem do aligatora. To też można grać w domu.
Well, I guess we'll see you later! In the state of Florida, the estimated population of alligators is 1.5 million. Here in the Florida Everglades, they estimate there are 500,000. Experts believe 1/3 of the population of alligators in the whole state of Florida can be found right here in the Florida Everglades. Let's go see what else we can find. Okay, now that we've talked about some of the wildlife around the Everglades, I'd like to talk to you now about your surroundings. I think everyone should be aware of their surroundings while they're out here. Today, on your tour, you will see 2 types of grass around us. Today you may come in contact with the cattail grass and the sawgrass. Most of the grass you will see around this area is cattail grass. Cattail grass was introduced to the Florida Everglades back in the early 1900s. Cattail grass was put out here to be used as a filtration system. Water management uses the cattail grass to absorb any impurities in the water. Any toxins that run off of local golf courses, lakes, and canals that connect to the Florida Everglades. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to focus your attentions back into the water. This time, let's notice the vegetation around us. The plant you see in this water right now is called the spatterdock plant. But not to be confused with the common lily. Lily pads are round in shape and they sit flat on top of the water. Spatterdock is shaped like a heart. And depending on the water levels out here, you may see this plant sticking up out of the water. A lot of wildlife that live here in Florida Everglades depend on these spatterdock plants. Some wildlife depend on these plants for food, and some wildlife depend on these plants to shelter them from larger predators. And just a little side note, when you see the spatterdock plant in the water, you can know that you are in water levels of 6 feet and under. These plants only grow to be 6 foot tall. The average depth of the water levels in the Florida Everglades will vary between 2 to 6 feet deep. During much of our tour, if you look over the edge of the boat into the water, you may notice bottom. Some canals out here can reach water levels up to 20 feet deep. If anyone on board right now enjoys fishing, you will be happy to hear that there are over 200 different types of fish in this water. And what happens a lot of times, people buy freshwater fish from fish stores. In time, when the fish get too big, they may release them right out here into the Florida Everglades. Or they may release them into areas that connect to the Florida Everglades. Either way, there really is no telling what kind of fish are out here. Some of the most common fish we may see throughout this area include the bluegills, mudfish, sunfish, Florida gar, catfish, the largemouth bass, the peacock bass, the Oscar. And recently, I've been chatting with some of the local fishermen out here. I've even heard about some people catching the snakehead fish. Snakehead fish, Oscars, peacock bass, iguanas are non-native to the Florida Everglades. And they are not the only invasive species living out here, because there is also a large population of the Burmese pythons. I want to tell you guys about the python problem that we're having out here right now. It's pretty crazy what's going on. Pythons are doing damage to the ecosystem around the Florida Everglades because the large snakes are eating a lot of the native animals. And what this is doing is it's wiping out some species, which is taking food away from others. A few years back, the Everglades organized a tournament called the First Python Challenge. During that time, they sent over 100 boats and 1,000 participants all around the Everglades, trying to catch and capture as many pythons as they could. Over 2 months of coming out here on evenings and weekends, the total number of pythons captured were 68.
Not too many.
But 68 pythons around the Florida Everglades is a very small percentage, because they estimate there are tens and thousands of them out here. Back in 2013, the largest python found in the Florida Everglades was 17 feet and 10 inches long. That snake weighed about 180 pounds. They said it could swallow whole a 6-foot North American alligator. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching our third and final speed trail. So for one last time today, may I please ask everyone to secure all of your items and hang on tight. Thank you. And here we go! is shaped almost entirely by fire and water. If you look around at all the cattail grass around us, you may notice that a large percentage of it is dead grass. That is because cattail grass takes up to 10 months to decompose. And when you have all this dead grass just lying around the Florida Everglades, most Floridians consider Florida to be the lightning capital of the U.S. If a bolt of lightning touches down near a large patch of dead grass, then an uncontrollable brush fire will ignite that will destroy much of the land, and it kills a lot of the wildlife. This canal we are now entering was dug in the 1930s. This canal was dug by the Army Corps of Engineers. This canal was dug to try to dry up the Florida Everglades, because the U.S. government wanted to use this land to build houses and plant crops. But here in South Florida, with all the persistent rainfall we have, eventually this whole land filled up with water, making this large area that we know as the Florida Everglades. There were 1,800 miles of canals dug for this area. The canal we're traveling in right now can reach water levels up to 20 feet deep. These trees that you see on both sides of this canal right now are pond apple trees. For 6 months out of the year, you will see a green fruit growing on the end of their branches. That green fruit is the pond apple. Traditionally, pond apples grow on these trees between the months of April through September. This time of the year, look closely. You should see a pond apple growing on these trees now. Even though pond apples grow on these trees for 6 months out of the year, they're only edible to us for 1 month out of that year. After 5 months of growing on the trees, the green fruit begins to change colors. It will eventually turn all brown. But while the pineapple is still green, there is a poison inside. It's a high level of toxin called arsenic.
Ooh.
You would have to first wait for that green fruit to change colors before it was considered edible. But then again, it has been known to be survival out here in this dangerous place that is also known as the Endless River of Grass. If anyone on board right now is interested to know, the building you see located up ahead of us at the end of this canal is the water pump station number 9. There's over 100 pump stations located throughout the Florida Everglades. This building was built in the 1960s. It is used to help control the water levels out here. This particular pump can pump up to 1 million gallons of water per hour. And now, if I may, I would like to tell everyone a little bit more about the boat we've been traveling on. The boat we've been traveling on today is called Sundance. Sundance was built right here on site at Everglades Holiday Park. Sundance was built out of a lightweight aircraft aluminum and is powered by two 1975 V8 Cadillac engines. Sadly though, here at Everglades Holiday Park, we airboat captains do not own these boats. Our income is provided by your generosity. Tips and gratuities are greatly appreciated. And from my family to yours, I thank you very much. Now at this time, I do regret to inform everyone of this, but all good things must come to an end.
Alright, that's better. I'm in a pit full of alligators. Let's be a little excited, guys. Alright. So my name is Kevin, and I'll be doing your alligator show for you today. Now, I do actually work with every single alligator that you see in here, and each of our alligators normally does about 1 or 2 shows a day. That way they can all take turns, don't get stressed or anything like that. Now, the largest alligator that we have in our enclosure, he is actually this big guy sitting in the water over here. So we'll come over and talk about him a little bit. Hi, big guy. Okay. So here's this big guy right here. Tip of his nose is right there, and tip of its tail comes way back over here. So if I pull up his tail, you'll see that his tail alone is about as big as I am. Alright, so this is a very large animal. Now, he is over 10 feet long, weighs over 300 pounds, and he is jacked out of his mind, so I like to call him Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. He is a very impressive alligator, but unfortunately I'm not using him for your show based on the simple fact of I can't really move him. He's kind of big, but he is a very impressive animal. Now, being that he is the largest alligator in here, he's also the dominant male in the enclosure until I walk through that door. There's a lot of bad jokes here. You gotta work with me, guys. Jokes are going downhill. Now, being that he is so large, a lot of people often ask how old is he or how old are any of the alligators in here, and there's actually no way to tell the age of an alligator just by simply looking. There's no external characteristics, no measurement you can take, nothing like that, can't tell by looking, so that's why we just simply cut him in half and count the rings. Roll with the jokes, guys. But in all seriousness, though, there really is no way to tell their age. See, their size depends upon their diet and environmental factors, not on how old they are. So let's say with 2 baby alligators, if you feed one of those baby gators a ton of food more than the other one, it can literally grow to be twice the size of its sibling in the same amount of time. If you do that same experiment with 2 human kids, you're not going to get a kid who's 6'7" in 3rd grade. But the alligator will actually grow larger. So you take a look at one of these guys. They could be 25, they could be 75. You'd have no way of knowing just by looking. And some records in captivity claim to have alligators over 100 years old. So very long-lived animals. Now in here, we mostly feed our alligators raw chicken and other kinds of meat, but in the wild, these are opportunistic hunters. They like to eat things like raccoons, turtles, fish, birds, and of course their favorite, tourists. Yeah. Kenny, of course, you don't usually attack people. In fact, attacks on humans are extremely rare. All right, I know everyone thinks they're out to get you, but let's do the math here. We have over 2 million alligators in the state of Florida. If they really wanted to eat people, you'd have people dying every single day. Instead, we have more people killed annually by vending machines than by alligators. Think about that for a minute there. That means every single year more people get angry, they can't get a candy bar, they shake the machine and falls and crushes them more often than people get attacked by one of those things. Really says a lot about both of our species right there. Now for your show, we are going to go ahead and grab one of these guys up and out of here. Now like I said, we do rotate them all through, so I am looking for a particular individual. So I'm going to grab a hold of this guy sitting down here. We'll bring him up front so everyone's going to be able to see. Okay. Camera guy. Easy. You guys having fun yet? I just see a lot of phones, like, yeah, he's gonna die. Alright. So let's go ahead and open up these jars. Okay. Alright, so take a look inside that alligator's mouth. You will actually see 80 teeth in there. Now there are 40 teeth on the top and 40 teeth on the bottom, and they can actually break their teeth off, they grow them back, and they cycle through several thousand teeth in their lifetime. Now that does come in handy because of how hard that gator can bite down. A large alligator can close its jaws with an entire ton of force within that mouth. 2,000 pounds per square inch power. Y'all do not seem impressed with that number. Think about that. 2,000 pounds is enough power to easily snap any bone in your weak, fragile human bodies and literally flatten your skull. If you're not impressed by this, it is because y'all are on the wrong side of the glass. Now, even though they can bite down so hard, you can actually hold their jaws shut with just your bare hands, as you can see me doing here. All that power is for closing, very little for actually opening. So remember, if you're ever about to be attacked by an alligator, don't run away, just turn around, grab the jaws, and you'll do great. Definitely kidding. Run for your life there, guys. But we have all these alligators in here for a reason, though. We are actually an alligator rescue, and these are all considered to be nuisance alligators that our team rescued. Now, a nuisance alligator is one that showed up in somebody's backyard, got in their swimming pool, he ate Fluffy, something like that. Now, once an alligator does eat somebody's dog, the state is going to send out a trapper to capture and kill the alligator, unless the dog he ate was a Pomeranian, and then just let him go to continue the good work. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, though, the state of Florida does kill several thousand of our nuisance alligators every year, and that is really sad because it's not the alligator's fault. It's usually a nuisance person who caused the problem, and by that I mean people who feed them. See, once you feed him, three things happen. One, he learns to associate you with the food. Two, you don't have the food. Three, you are the food. And that's why it's against the law to feed them. Now, once an alligator does become a nuisance alligator, by law, it has to be either killed or kept in captivity. Therefore, most trappers simply kill and sell the alligators to make money. However, myself and the other team members here are the only strictly non-kill trappers in the state, and therefore, instead of killing the alligators to make money, we volunteer our time to rescue these alligators for free. So what we do in here, we do our shows with these nuisance alligators instead of him being turned into a handbag, which you appreciate that, right, big guy? Yes, he does. That's what we consider an alligator rescue, because every single alligator that you see in here would have sadly been destroyed if they were not here with us. Now, alligator wrestling is not like wrestling in a ring, and do not hurt, headlock, or body slam the alligator. It's actually techniques used by the native tribes of Florida, and one of the maneuvers they would use is holding the jaws of the alligator shut between your chin and your chest, allowing your hands to be free to take out a rope and then tie the jaws shut, which sounds like a horrible, dangerous idea, so I'm going to demonstrate it. Now, it does make a pretty cool looking photo, so I give you guys a thumbs up like this. Where if it does go horribly wrong, get my arm ripped off and I'm bleeding everywhere, I'll give you a thumbs down, okay? Alright, don't worry, in that scenario, just switch your camera from photo to video. Alright. So come here, big guy. Relax, buddy. Oops. Sometimes people clap. And you guys, clapping did not feel forced at all. Now you have one more trick to show you guys, but before I do it, I do want to tell you a little bit about myself too, so you don't think I'm completely insane. And see the stairs out there. I actually have a bachelor's degree in finance and international business from a college in New York. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. But for my entire college career, all I really wanted to do was get out of the shark tank and into the gator pit. Yeah. Now, phrase that I choose to live by is live your dreams and follow your passion. For my entire life, I've been passionate about reptiles, and especially alligators, and it has been a dream of mine to be an alligator wrestler ever since I was a little kid. So I feel extremely fortunate to have been given this opportunity, and I encourage everybody out there to pursue your wildest dreams, because you never know, they might just come true. Now, that being said, the only way that I'm able to continue to do this job full-time is through the generous donations of the people in my audience, and you guys. Now, to capture this job, it's obviously very dangerous, and due to the danger factor, I am not an employee of the park, and instead an unpaid volunteer due to liability and insurance. Liability. That way, if the alligator does rip off my hand and eat it in front of me, no one is technically responsible, and I get a get well soon card. That is literally our healthcare plan. So at the end of the show, you like the show, you learn about alligators, and like the fact that we're a rescue that saves these guys. I do greatly appreciate anything that goes into my little tip jar down there. That is the only way that I get paid here, and it's also what enables our alligator rescue to function, and what allows us to continue to go out and rescue more of these beautiful and magnificent animals. Now you also come to the not fun part, where I do not attempt anything you've seen me doing here today. I know I might make it look pretty easy, pretty safe to be in a pit full of alligators and I handle one, but the reality is one slip, one wrong move, you can lose life or limb. I feel very fortunate, having a lot of close calls, never had a bad accident, but I have a few friends who did. I had one friend get bit in the hand during the show, gator death rolled, snapped his arm like a twig. I had another friend get bit in the upper arm during the show, gator death rolled, ripped the bicep muscle from the bone, ate the chunk of his arm during the show. Now that was obviously very serious. He almost died from blood loss, but I'm not saying this to be dramatic or to scare you guys. I say that you understand the reality here. I didn't tell a lot of jokes, and then people tend to forget. This is a powerful apex predator that is of our utmost respect. Don't ever approach one to ever try this. But that being said, take a look around me. All right, these are not aggressive animals. They're not going to come chasing after you, and they're not going to hunt you down. In fact, I think they're pretty cute. They pretty much just sleep all day. They're the laziest things on earth. But when people feed them, swim in their habitat, or try and handle them like this, that's exactly when people get hurt or even killed. So don't do any of those three things, and you'll be fine. You leave them alone, and they'll leave you alone. Now, on that note of positivity, let's go ahead and do the most dangerous part of the show. What could possibly go wrong, right? So the last trick I have for you guys is called the face-off. It's called the face-off because if I mess it up, my face comes up. You need a dark sense of humor, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the jaws of the alligator. I'm going to set my chin on the edge of the open jaw, balancing the jaws up with just my chin, and if anything touches inside the mouth, boom, jaws don't shut. If it leaves a reflex, nothing stops the jaws from closing. So you need to be very careful here. Alright. But I know one last piece of anatomy I want to point out quick. You guys see this fat roll looking thing down here? That's not fat, that's the jaw muscle. An alligator can eventually have over 50 pounds of muscle solely dedicated to slamming its jaws shut and then crushing anything that's in between them. So that puts this in perspective a little bit. So let's give this a shot. Alright, now most of my show is a lot of bad jokes. I want you guys to laugh, have a good time, learn about alligators. There's one part of the show that is actually extremely dangerous, so before I do it, I want a little bit of motivation. You guys are enjoying the show, right?
Yeah!
Alright, now I'm just checking. So nice and careful.
Ooh. All right.
Alright, good job, big guy. Give an alligator some applause. Good job, buddy. Not too shabby, big guy. Not too shabby. Now you can see that alligator just gets up and walks away. He doesn't turn around and come after me. There's no revenge, no hard feelings, unlike that shows none of it all. And he is literally going to lay there and take a nap after all the hard work that he did. So we're going to be guys now. We're going to take a baby alligator and some other cool animals you'll be able to check out. Again, my name is Kevin. If you have any questions for me, I'll be standing strategically by my tip jar with a card reader, Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle. Guys, for the show and have fun?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that.